Wednesday's episode is built around emotional collapse, stubborn heroism, and the painful realization that some problems can't be fixed by force or good intentions alone. At the heart of the episode is Tessa's devastating confession to Sharon that she plans to divorce Mariah. This moment is not fueled by anger or betrayal, but by exhaustion and grief. Tessa still loves Mariah, but she no longer recognizes the person she's married to. Mariah's recent withdrawal and secrecy have made Tessa feel shut out, powerless, and emotionally abandoned. Talking to Sharon is Tessa's last attempt to make sense of her pain before making an irreversible choice. Sharon responds with deep empathy, understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop trying to save someone who isn't letting you in. Like talking someone down from an emotional edge, Sharon's calm presence is about preventing Tessa from self-destruction, even if it means letting the marriage fall apart for now. This storyline mirrors a larger theme running through the episode: people believing they can fix what's broken if they just push harder. That theme plays out most clearly with Nick Newman, who once again ignores doctors' orders and throws himself into crisis management. Nick is convinced that he can still salvage the situation between Victor, Kane, and Phyllis, believing that reason, guilt, or emotional pressure will eventually work. His attempt to guilt Kane and Phyllis into making a deal comes from desperation, not manipulation. Nick fears that if he doesn't act, Victor's refusal to compromise will permanently damage the family and the business. However, Nick's failure shows that determination without cooperation only leads to burnout, and Nick is already physically paying the price. Nikki Newman's reaction to Nick's behavior is one of the most emotionally charged moments of the episode. When Nick admits he broke doctor's orders, Nikki doesn't just scold him, she sees history repeating itself. She recognizes Victor's patterns in Nick: the need to control outcomes, the belief that sacrifice equals strength, and the refusal to accept personal limits. Nikki's anger is rooted in terror. She's watching her son destroy himself the same way Victor has done for decades, and she refuses to stand by silently. Her confrontation with Nick is not about blame, it's about survival. She makes it clear that being the family's savior isn't noble if it cost him his health or life. Victor Newman remains the immovable force at the center of the chaos. His failure to negotiate with Kane and Phyllis isn't about strategy, it's about ego. Victor still believes he can bend people to his will, whether through intimidation, leverage, or money. However, this episode makes it painfully clear that those tactics are no longer working. Kane and Phyllis aren't afraid, and they can't be bought. The frustration Victor feels is mirrored in Nick's desperation, showing how deeply Victor's worldview has shaped his son. Yet this time Victor can't clean up the mess on his own, and Nick can't fix it for him either. The episode's emotional resonance lies in the realization that love and loyalty have limits. Tessa reaches hers and chooses self-preservation. Nick ignores his and risks collapse. Nikki enforces hers by drawing a line. Sharon stands as the quiet moral center, guiding without controlling. The Buffy-style comparison fits perfectly here, not in a supernatural sense but emotionally. Characters are being pulled back from the brink by words, not force, and sometimes those words arrive too late to undo the damage. By the end of Wednesday's episode, nothing is neatly resolved. Instead, the cracks are wider and more visible. A marriage is on the verge of ending, a son is pushing himself toward physical danger, a mother is forced to confront painful truths, and a patriarch is losing his grip on control. These moments don't just move the plot forward, they redefine relationships and set the stage for fallout that will linger long after the episode ends.